Hi, I'm Jim Whitaker with Global Link Media. We're joined today by Dr. Ashley Kaufman with Rushmore Family Chiropractic. And I want to thank you, Dr. Ashley, for being here today. I know you're really busy, and I appreciate you taking out the time to be on this call. So with that being said, maybe you can start by just introducing yourself, your practice, and the services you provide.
All right. Well, my name is Dr. Ashley Kaufman. I am located in Rapid City, South Dakota. I own Rushmore Family Chiropractic, and I started this practice when I moved back to Rapid City. This is where I'm from, at the end of 2013. So it's used to be just me, but now it's myself, Dr. Becky Beilstein. We have a massage therapist and all my office staff that keep everything rolling smoothly for me.
Right. Well, that's great. And can you briefly describe how you got involved with our company?
Well, Jim, you and I were in a networking group together. And, after you saying things about SEO, it finally clicked in my head, because I've since I started my practice by myself, and honestly, I started it with, a very small amount of money. I didn't want to go into a lot of debt to start. So I made my own website. And I learned how to sort of do that. Not really. I just did a lot of YouTube videos.
Sure.
And I had made my own, and that sort of worked, but it didn't, get me anywhere. It just made it so I had a website. And then I had gone and over the course of a few years, I had met a different person who was a website designer, and she had made me something that I liked, but she did not do SEO. And then when you and I had met, my Google, where I was ranking in Google, was just kind of going down, and I knew I needed SEO, but number one, I don't have time to learn how to do SEO. I don't want to. I like adjusting people. That's my favorite. That brings me joy. And so that's just where you and I kind of met and got started with leaving essentially something that is really a full-time job up to, the professionals.
Sure. So that kind of answers my next question. That's how you got involved. But what made you start looking into internet marketing at that time? It was just that you had never done it. And
well, our social media presence had been pretty good, and then it just, over the course of, I guess, I just kind of stopped. And the reality was I was busier with treating patients and doing stuff in the office. For me personally, I didn't have time anymore to do that extra stuff. And I wanted my practice to continue to grow. It's where I'm not even this practice is 9 years old at this point. So it's still relatively new. There's room for growth. And with the way of the world and the internet, I knew that I needed to have a better presence on that, so people could find me, not just people that were specifically looking for me, but we're growing a lot in our area, and so people that are new to the area could also find me, and that was important to me.
Sure. So speaking of growing, at that time, if you can look back and think about where you were in your business as far as your revenue or how many leads you were generating per month from the internet.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of hard because I'll tell you this, I didn't used to track as much. I just tracked, we had this many new patients each month. And so those were where we had tracked. And I got started with you, Jim, at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020.
Sure.
Right in time for all the good old stuff to happen to the economy. Right. And all the stuff that happened. And so in that time period, we had started to go back down, which I'm, pretty sure most people had done anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of, and I've talked to some of my colleagues, instead of us having this pretty big decrease of specifically new patients, because the patients that were already coming in, we never had to close. And so they were always still coming in if they were comfortable. But those new people that were out there on, on Zoom and sitting at home and doing all the stuff in places that they weren't used to doing it, those were also people that were continuing to look for chiropractic care. And so ours we had only really dipped a little bit in 2020. And then 2021, we kind of came back with a vengeance. And whereas it used to be a large portion of our new patients were from internal referrals, which are, great. That's what you want to see. And we just had this, minute portion from just internet and, essentially what I'd call like a cold lead. Now we're seeing, especially now we put the feature on where they can just email us. They're like, oh, I'd like an appointment. And so they just email us. And I mean, we have multiple of those per week now.
Right.
Whereas, I mean, first of all, we never would have even had that because we didn't have that feature, but you can tell people are drastically finding us. The people that you can see when you like kind of trend my results. I mean, we're in like, what do we look like 200% plus increase in some of the different categories.
Yes.
So it's been drastic. And then, one of the other things is then they can read our reviews, which we already had some, but, and that really helps people to, feel comfortable where they're coming.
That's great. So some of the things that we implemented or put in place for your practice that you've seen the results from, one of them is that request appointment link, and then we send you reports every month. It's something you said you weren't tracking anything before, so now we can see month to month exactly how we're doing and year to year. And which is so nice. I mean, I'm sure if we pulled stuff from 2017, it would be minuscule because we didn't have anybody looking at any of that stuff. Sure.
And I think part of that now is just being more aware of it is also a really big thing.
So with those things and the results you're getting, how has that impacted your practice and just your personal life?
Well, one of the things is I only have time for you on my lunch break, which is right now. So that's good.
I appreciate it.
I'll eat later. It's fine. Honestly, we have been a lot busier. We're getting a lot of people, honestly, that are just moving into the area, which is awesome because those are people that are, then going to be in other people, and it just kind of continues to go. Sure. And then honestly, for me personally, is I don't have to think about this kind of stuff, outside of the time I'm treating patients. There's a lot of other things that have to go into, running a business, other than just treating patients. I mean, honestly, that's the bread and butter. That's the part that I love to do. All the other stuff is stuff that has to be done. And this, I don't have to come in on the weekends. I don't have to, I don't have to do a lot of the stuff externally from office hours, which, I'm sure my kids appreciate, probably my husband too.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. So with that being said, what would you say to someone who's considering using our service?
Well, first of all, I'd say do it. And I think part of it too is leave there. That is your entire job. If there's an entire job dedicated to what you do, Jim, leave it to the professionals, because I'm not going to do as good of a job because, well, that's not my profession. That's not my field. And just really take a look. I mean, the investment that you're going to make on a monthly basis, how much does that really take to, like, with these increases in patients that you're seeing? It's really not, it's not as big of an investment when you look at the growth that you're going to have.
Sure.
It's really, and it makes your life easier.
Right. Well, we appreciate that, and I'm glad everything's working for you. And just so you know, I'm not going to be trying to adjust anyone either. So
good.
I'm going to leave that to the professionals, and I appreciate your adjustments on me too. So, but I want to thank you again. I'll let you get to your lunch now, and I really do appreciate your business, your loyalty, and this great testimonial you've given us today.
Well, I appreciate you, Jim. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.